And then there were four. We'll preview the conference championship games, giving our against the spread picks, as well as our picks to make the Super Bowl. All coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee.
And I'm Michael Wiley, and we're the Fantasy Football Consultants.
Michael, we are getting to the bitter end, and I want to give a quick shout out to our two DraftKings contest winners. That was SportsFan 14 and the Sports Fanatic. But we have one more contest before our season ends, Michael.
Yep, that's our Against the Spread contest that we're halfway through. So, Jesse, congratulations. You're in first place. You picked all four divisional games correctly. And Brett Messamore, who's tied with Lucas Wiley, Brett picked all four games as well to jump from the bottom down up to the top. They were the only two who picked all four games, which goes to show there was some tough picks, and we saw how injuries can affect things. And we do have two folks who are tied for that fourth place spot as well, who are in the close running. Obviously Jesse wins everything. He wins out.
Michael, I was this close to taking the lead from going from worst to first. Jesse, I would have passed you. If the Saints, look, I got all of the Saturday games and the Cleveland pick. I just needed the Saints. It didn't happen, but I am at sixth place along with Fernando Benjamin, my Twitter friend, Matt Fengenbaum, Laura Fusekas, Rob, Jeff, husband George Fusekas has dropped down on the list to sixth, Riley and P. Wade. Now, here's what we need to hope. First of all of us have to win out. Okay, we have to win out, and we have to hope that everybody ahead of us misses at least one game. Right behind that group, Michael, is a just two-person group. We have in 16th place, Tony Godino, former NFL FFC Survivor winner, and some guy named Michael Wiley.
I don't know why you're patting yourself on the back, Eric. First of all, the Saints, I'm sure there were plenty of other people who picked the Saints, myself included, but the Saints looked bad. They were ahead, but they lost that game. Drew Brees he's not himself. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the retirement decision. And really, take away the Patrick Mahomes injury, and you definitely don't win that Kansas City game.
Michael, you asked me why am I patting on my back? I'm patting myself on the back because through 2 weeks I am 500, which means I'm as good as a coin, baby. Went 2-4 that week, 3-1, but because same record as you, but because we waited this round a little more, I snuck ahead of you. That's all right. You can sneak back ahead of me this week. Let's find out I don't know who your picks are going to be. We've got Green Bay at home, 3.5-point favorites over Tampa Bay. It's the Battle of the Bay, Michael. They met once this year. 38-10, big win for Tampa Bay at home. But I want to remind people, Green Bay was up 10-0 and had the ball. And Brett Favre, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers threw a pick six to make it 10-7, and then he basically threw another pick six that was returned to the 2. And then after that, it was all Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of a pack it in for the Packers. Yeah, you're right. This is the first time we're really having a battle of the Bay where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can hang. And you really got to hand it to their defense on how they played against the Saints. I think that Taysom Hill, you know how I feel about Taysom Hill, but I think the Taysom Hill being out of that game really affected things. Good, that game was close. Tampa Bay's defense held them down, but the Ram defense played well as well, and the Packers still put up points. We saw Matt LaFleur do a really good job scheming to make sure he could get Davante Adams that first touchdown, even with Jalen Ramsey covering. I think Tampa Bay's defense is not as good as the Rams defense. Yes, they're much better than the Rams offense, and that's where they're going to have to make things happen. I was pretty impressed with what Bruce Arians and Tom Brady did together. I think Tom Brady has really shown that it's not just Bill Belichick. but I don't know how they can go in and beat these Green Bay Packers who will have learned from that first game. We saw what happened when Tampa Bay, who lost twice to the Saints, had a third crack at them. This is the second crack for Green Bay at home in the cold against Tampa Bay, who usually plays in the warm. I think you know where I'm leaning.
I've said it in previous shows, and I'll say it again. It is so difficult to go into Green Bay and win in January. Michael, it's a 40% chance of snow in this game. It's a 100% chance it'll be freezing cold. It is so difficult. So I'll start with, I think you said Green Bay was going to win, and I'm going to agree with you. My pick to go to the Super Bowl is the Green Bay Packers. But will they cover 3.5 points? That half a point could be a little stickler. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, you mentioned the cold. You know who's been playing in the cold for the last several years? Tom Brady. He's very good in the cold. He doesn't have any issues with that. It's really how the other players will be affected. The Rams were able to put up points on the Green Bay Packers, and I think that will happen for Tampa Bay as well. This game's going to be close. I have a hard time believing that Green Bay is going to blow them out. So I think the 3 points does matter. And that's, I think, what's going to make me struggle with picking the Packers to cover the spread here. I think 3 points is probably how this game ends, with the field goal towards the end. Take Tom Brady to keep within the spread, but Green Bay is going to win the game.
Whoa, okay. I thought we were going to agree. I really think that Aaron Rodgers should be able to expose the Tampa Bay secondary. I know that they're a great run defense, but will they be able to slow down Davante Adams and company? I easily can see this as a touchdown game. So I am not only picking Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl, I'm picking Green Bay to cover this 3.5 point spread. So let's move on. Speaking of 3.5 point spread, that's the exact spread that Kansas City is a 3.5 point favorite over Buffalo. Michael, I just think all comes down to the health of Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That game was well in hand. Let's maybe talk about the games real quick. So in my opinion, there was going to be no chance that Cleveland was going to beat that 9.5 point spread with how things were trending in that game. And Chad Henne throws an interception in the end zone. Bad throw, bad decision. Pat Mahomes doesn't do that, right? That puts him up 2 scores. Cleveland has to throw the ball to keep within they're not just trying to keep within the spread. They want to win the game. And what happens when a team that doesn't have a great passing game has to throw? Well, we saw most of the year with a lot of teams that did that they were not able to come back, and they would end up throwing a pick towards the end of the game, which is what would have happened if Chad Henne didn't have to come in the game. The Kansas City was moving the ball at will. Yeah, you know what happened in the first half? Kansas City scored on every single drive with Pat Mahomes at the helm. So can that happen again now let's talk about Buffalo. The difference between the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns is the defense, right? So yeah, I've been really impressed with what the Bills have done on the offensive side, even against a decent Baltimore defense. Diggs was able to go off. We were able to see, Singletary even run the ball better than the Titans had Henry run the ball. But at the end of the day, Baltimore only scored a field goal. They were in there. They couldn't get the ball past the 50-yard line. Buffalo's defense has come up big. That's who I'm impressed with right now. And you've talked about it, so I'll let you say a few more things about these Buffalo Bills.
Well, I do think a little bit of the aided of the weather that kept some of the deep passing down, but give it up to the Buffalo Bills, because the Ravens have an awesome offense behind Lamar Jackson. And to keep them out of the end zone for the entire game, sensational. I truly am impressed by Tre'Davious White and the rest of their secondary. So here's my concern. Pat Mahomes has 2 injuries, right? He has the concussion and he has the foot issue. A huge weapon, am I not right, Michael, of Pat Mahomes is his ability to scramble, get out of pressure. And to the extent that he is hampered, that really reduces his effectiveness.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, Kansas City has the most weapons of everybody. Kelsey still had a great game. Tyreek Hill still had a great game. And they both will probably get their chances. But Buffalo can go toe to toe. Kansas City's defense is not that strong. And I think at the end, there will be points in this game where Pat Mahomes will have to use his feet. And if he's not in the game or he's a little hobbled, that will be impactful. The Bills were 8-1 odds to win the Super Bowl just a week ago. And I know several people who took that bet, and I think it was a great bet. I think this Buffalo Bills team is for real. I love those fans. They're used to the cold. It's going to be cold in KC again this weekend. I don't think that we're talking, in my opinion, about Kansas City beating the spread. As much as I love Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs and Pat Mahomes, I think we're talking about how Buffalo wins this game in a commanding fashion going into the Super Bowl. That's what I think. The two Buffalo losses that they had back to back during the season against the Titans and the Chiefs were really impacted by the change of schedule that was potentially going to occur. And so that Kansas City game where Buffalo lost, I think would have looked very differently if Buffalo had a more traditional preparation time frame. And I think Josh Allen has just gotten better week by week. His chemistry with Diggs is fantastic. And he's spreading the ball around. I think Buffalo is going to really shock the world unless they can't kick some field goals in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, you had a lot of Buffalo fans ready to support you, and then you dropped that one on there. They're not happy with you. So, yeah, I fully expected the spread to be around 6 and 6.5 points, and I was going to shock people and bring up the fact that the Chiefs in the last 9 games are 1-8. I didn't misspeak. 1-8 in covering the spread in their last 9 games. They simply aren't blowing anybody out. Now, at the 3.5 points, doesn't really have to be a blowout. But what I was going to surprise people on, and you took a little of that thunder away, is that I am picking Buffalo to win outright. Now, I told you guys before the playoffs, I thought Buffalo was the hottest team. I was actually disappointed how they played against the Colts, but I wasn't disappointed how they played against the Ravens. And I think the injury to Mahomes, whether it be the concussion or whether it be the foot, I think that's going to factor in. And I am going to happily take the 3.5 points and pick Buffalo. But look, if you guaranteed me that Mahomes was healthy, my pick to go to the Super Bowl would be Kansas City. But since I have doubts about that, my Super Bowl pick, Buffalo. We want to just remind you guys, if you haven't yet, smash that like button and hit the red subscriber button so you're notified of all of our future videos.
Yeah, and please comment. We want to hear from you. I always say that, but we love to hear your rationale, your arguments, telling us why we don't know what the heck we're talking about. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
And it's always more powerful when you do that before the games rather than after. Well, everybody, I like to say at the end of every show, please be safe, take care, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.